Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. It's our inaugural Sausalito People event. We have 5 more coming in the following Fridays. Next weekend, next Friday, we'll have David Ronsky here. David is an ultramarathoner. When I first found out about David, he, on his website, introduces himself as a barefoot ultramarathoner, and it seemed an interesting juxtaposition to have him appearing after a shoe designer. But Megan Papay is here tonight. I'll introduce her in a moment. Following the David Ronsky presentation, we have Paolo Salvagioni. He is an artist and engineer, and he'll be here, I believe it's April 12th. The idea behind Sausalito People was not a particularly brilliant one. It was me living here in Sausalito, working here, and just realizing to myself, wow, how many interesting and talented people there are in this town. And that this is a way to introduce people who live and work in Sausalito to those people among them who have special talents and experiences. We have here tonight the folks from the Community Media, excuse me, the Community Media Center of Marin. There will be a rebroadcast on Marin TV, and hopefully we'll also have this up on the library's website. So let me introduce tonight's speaker. Megan Papay studied costume design at the University of Virginia and began her career in fashion in the celebrity styling department of Calvin Klein. After Calvin Klein, she joined one of the top PR firms in New York, then left to start her own collection of accessories. Seeking a break from New York and the fashion world, she went back to school for a master's degree in elementary education and taught first grade for 2 years. In 2005, she moved to San Francisco and began her career in footwear design. Megan met future business partner Christina Palomo Nelson while working for the Annie Lou brand of fashion comfort footwear. In 2011, they struck out on their own and founded Frida Salvador. The first Frida Salvador boutique opened in 2013 on Union Street in San Francisco and also serves as the company headquarters. Frida Salvador shoes are also available at Saks Fifth Avenue, shopbop.com, and other national and international retailers. Megan lives in Sausalito's Banana Belt with her husband Michael, daughter Piper, and their dogs Parker and Scrappy. Please join me in welcoming Megan Papay.
Abbott, thank you, and thanks to the Sausalito Library for even thinking to do this. Community outreach is just an amazing thing, and Abbott's right, like there are so many spectacular, interesting people in Sausalito, so I hope that this continues and becomes a great trend for our town. So my company is called Frida Salvador. We are a contemporary line of women's shoes, and contemporary is it's a style shoe, and it's also like a price point. So it's kind of in the mid-range in the fashion industry. It's the younger 25 to 45-year-old woman, and it falls in the mid-price range. Some of you might think this is crazy, but the mid-range is $295 to $750 for boots. So Frida Salvador is a contemporary women's shoe company. We focus on cutting-edge style, versatility, and wearability. What I mean by versatility is a lot of our shoes have different personalities. So this is an Oxford, and you can simply like take this saddle off, and it becomes like a little smoking slipper. So yeah, I mean, it's novel, it's super fun. People get really excited about the fact that, you know, on the weekends with jeans, you can wear it as an Oxford. With a suit, you can wear it as a tuxedo shoe, and it looks a little bit more chic. This is one of our boots. It's the same boot. You can fold it down and wear it as an ankle boot. You know, it's lined inside. So it's kind of different on the market. Not many people are doing versatile shoes. And then again, wearability is so important to us. We did come from a fashion comfort footwear brand before. We were kind of spoiled with the shoes that we were wearing. They're infinitely walkable, so we wanted to bring that into our brand as well. So we mainly focus on flats and boots. We're kind of like the urban girl on the go. She can't take time to be slowed down by her shoes. And as Abbott said, we're picked up by Saks Fifth Avenue. We got picked up there in our first season, which is unheard of and so exciting. Also shopbop.com, Harvey Nichols, and then a lot of boutiques. Our goal when we started this company was to provide designer quality footwear at a contemporary price point. So we use the finest Italian and Spanish leathers, and people think we're crazy, but we're using the same leather as a Gucci, Bottega Veneta. We go to the same tanneries and we use those leathers because it's important to us that our shoes look and feel beautiful. Our design aesthetic is combining classic lines with interesting materials, so our shoes are understandable but exciting to purchase. For example, the boot that you see there, it's a classic jodhpur shape. It's been around for a really long time, but we detailed it a little bit differently, having the lizard in the back, so it's fresh and fun. We just had this bit of PR come out, and it kind of summarized our goal in the sense that our shoe is there with Chloe and Acne and Isabel Marant at $1,300, $900, and ours is there for $550. So we were excited about that. My partner who wasn't able to make it tonight, on the right of me there, Christina, she is very tailored, androgynous. I would wear sequins every day if I could. I'm much more girly, bohemian. And so when you have those two perspectives in the design process, it really is valuable to our brand, because to look at the same shoe from two different eyes like that and make it cohesive, it makes it really understandable to a very broad range of women. Like I said, the jodhpur, it's very clean and understandable lines, but we're doing interesting leather details and combinations. This is where we started in Sausalito. I'm so proud that this brand is based here, and I hope in 50 years, like Edith Heath, that we can say, have somewhere on our box that we are born in Sausalito. This is in our backyard on Glen Drive. The cottage is smaller than this area right here. I mean, it literally fit our desk and a filing cabinet, and a small place for Piper and our dogs. But we were there for about 1.5 years and loved every minute of it. It just fit. I mean, it's Sausalito. It's artsy, and the energy was great, and it made us who we are today. Scrappy and Parker and Piper. This is like our daily work day. Like, hardly got anything done for a long time because the dogs were always barking at the animals outside, and Piper would come home from school, but it was just part of the process. And being a startup, it's those things that just keep you going throughout the day. So step one, and I'm just going to walk you through how we just do the whole process of making a shoe. And it starts off with our inspiration, and a lot of that comes from travel. We're in Italy twice a year. We're in Spain about 4 times a year. We're in New York also 4 times a year, and then various other places. So we literally have more pictures of random girls' feet. Like, we stalk women's feet. Like, we just go up behind them and take pictures of their shoes, because you get that idea. It's just one subtle little thing that makes a trigger for the next collection. And this is generally like a mood board in color. This is what we were working on for spring. And then we also look at individual shoes. So, for example, we found that gold Oxford with the white rubber sole, and we loved that concept, but we felt it was a little impractical to have a white sole. It would get so dirty. And so we translated that into Frida Mind, which is one of our top sellers now. We added another layer of leather, so you actually walk on the leather part. And we thought it was a little bit more sleek and feminine, just to kind of add that touch. It's a little bit more clean. And then again, in the jeweled sandal, Christina would never wear crystals. I do, and so for our Frida C, we have the jeweled option, but you can literally snap the piece off, so it becomes just a plain sandal as well. So it has 2 personalities. This is such a fun process. It's the rendering process. So it's where we take all of our ideas, we turn them into drawings, and we literally tape them on the ceiling, the walls, anywhere we can. We kind of categorize them by flats, boots, tall boots, low boots. And then we kind of take them down as we go until we edit our final collection. And this process takes a while. I mean, we stare at these for at least a couple weeks because something that might sound exciting off the start, once you sit with it for a while, it might become impractical, or it might just not fit in once you're finished the other categories of shoes. And then one of my most exciting parts is traveling to Italy. Every year, twice a year, there's a fair called Linea Pelle. I'm actually leaving for Italy on Monday to buy leather for our spring 14 collection. It's just tannery after tannery, building after building of leather, lasts, components, heels, shoelaces, glue, machines, buckles, adornments, anything that you can imagine that goes into a shoe. You can find at this fair. So it's 3 days long. We literally get there the minute it opens. We're there till it closes every day. And we just troll the stalls. A lot of the tanneries give you books like this, so once you see what they have hanging on the walls, you can bring their sample cards home so you know what you're working with, like once you get home. They have a beautiful trend section, so they do a nice job of explaining what they feel is going to be really important for that upcoming season. And for this spring 13, I don't know if you can see this material, but it's wild, just mirrored. It's called Planet I Ride. Like, techno was a huge trend for spring 13. I, of course, was drawn to it immediately because it was shiny. Christina was like, no, we can't use that. And so we compromised, and we made, and it's very expensive, we made this sandal, and you can see that there's like 2 little straps, so just a nice detail, kind of a nice combination of both worlds. And the Teju, the lizard, we kind of made it more organic, so it's just a little touch of techno, and then simplified a lot. So basically we go to the fair and we come back with suitcases full of big leather books, and then we bring it back to the studio and we lay it all out and we kind of put it together with the renderings that we had drawn, and we detail our collection. And the next step is making it very organized to send to the factory. So the shoe's broken down into how we want to detail it. Upper 1 is the same leather, upper 2 is a different leather. The footbed, the little heel strap in the back, the buckle, whether it's brass or silver, the sole, if we want it to be natural or dyed. All of these details go into a sheet like this, and we send it to the factory, and then the sample making process starts at the factory. The desarrollo is in El Salvador at my partner Christina's factory. And I mean, it's like a baby nursery for us. It's the most exciting place on earth. Like, our shoes are born there. Everyone's super excited to be working there because everything's new. It's not like they're working on the same shoe over and over. It's really an exciting development. You're working there together. So they build all of the patterns for our shoes, and you can see the paper pattern up there matching with the last. And then we get the samples, and we're there for about a week. And so we try to get everything done in that week just so we don't have to travel back and forth so much, because the cost of that is expensive for us right now. So we go back to the hotel after we get our samples. We do all of our line changes on all of the lasts and the shoes on tape. And then they take that back and they fix the pattern. And then they send us the final samples, like in our leathers. We do extensive fit testing on fit models, size 7 and size 9, to make sure the pattern looks right, to make sure the shoe mold is graded properly. And then once we approve the final samples for the collection, they go to that's another just fun picture of the sample making room. They go to our showroom in New York. Our showroom is called Peter Marcus Group, and it's a multi-brand showroom. They only focus on shoes. And they're excellent at what they do. They have outstanding relationships with retailers like Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus, like all of the stores that we're dying to be in. So all of these people see our shoes from day one, and they're there for the entire selling season. We get a lot of international buyers in there as well, and their buying time period is a little bit different, so it's nice just to have our shoes out for an entire season. So they manage the relationships with the buyers, and then they also manage our account. Like, once the shoes are sold and once our shoes are in store, they're also in charge of kind of keeping that account happy. They send us our selling reports. We get weekly selling reports to make sure that our shoes are doing well. So they've been really fantastic to work with. After Peter Marcus Group collects all of the orders from the retailers, after, you know, Saks and Shop Up, the buyers went in, they have to shop the market, so it's such a long process. They might see us on day one, and 4.5 weeks later, they'll come back around and say, okay, we need to fill this category from you, we have this from somebody else. So, you know, they saw us on the first day, and they might be going crazy over our entire collection, but at the end of the day, we're still really small, so they're filling in categories, you know, like sandals by Jack Rogers, people that have like a brand awareness at home. So it's really a fight every season to get our shoes and other categories into each of these stores. So once we get the orders placed, we send them to the factory, and then the production begins. The factory orders all of our leather for us. It's all hand cut. We're still pretty small. We're making about 1,100 pairs for our next season. So every piece of every shoe is hand cut from a paper pattern right now, which is pretty amazing. All of our soles of our sandals, they're all hand sewn. The uppers are all stitched, and it does work like an assembly line. Like one person has one machine that's good for one thing, so they kind of have a tray, they do about 20, and then they pass on that tray to the next person. And then once the entire upper is sewn, the shoe is ready to be lasted, which, so you know, like this is a shoe last. So the shoe on the left is obviously not lasted. It's the same shoe as the one on the right. So that's basically what the shoe looks like before it goes into the lasting machine. And this is a lasting machine. So the shoe, the leather piece is kind of put over the top, and then a big thing comes down and it just heats it, kind of melts it, like right over the plastic last. And then the same thing happens for the heel. So once these two processes are done, the shoe now looks like a shoe, but it does not have the sole on it yet. And then once it gets out of its machine, the sole is then just simply glued on, and the shoe is basically ready to go to the finisher at that point, and just buffed and cleaned and make sure. And then they, when it's ready to go off the last, it's called breaking the last, so this thing kind of splits, and you can pull it out. And then one of the special things about our brand is that we do have access to Christina's factory in El Salvador, which is, it has the reputation for being the best in the world for hand-sewn moccasins. LL Bean does all of their moccasins there. Land's End, Saks Fifth Avenue has a private label. And the difference between a moccasin is there's a solid piece of leather, kind of, it covers the whole shoe, and then it's just sewn on the top. And they use the shoe tacks to hold the pieces on, and then it's literally sewn. It's an exquisite just technique. He just sews all the way around the top, like he's doing there, the hand stitching. And then this is a style that we had for our fall collection. So the fact that it is all one piece of leather on the bottom, it kind of molds your foot, and that's what makes moccasins so much more comfortable than lasted shoes. So after the shoes are lasted, the soles are glued on and the finishing touches are made. They're packaged in our boxes. We have a pretty fun dust bag with roses. We want people to carry it on the street, so we made our dust bag really fun. So we thought that'd be good brand marketing. And then they're sent to the warehouse in the factory, and then they're sent to us in Sausalito. This was like the best day of my life. All the shoes showed up in my driveway. We had no idea what to do with them all. But we were laughing and just crying, and it was such a good day. So we get them sent to us in California, and then we redistribute them all to our retailers. And at this point, we're still so little, like we literally go through every box and make sure everything's perfect, that the sizes match up, that there's not like a speck of anything on them. So it's quite a tedious process. And then they're sent to our retailers. This was our first collection at Saks. We were pretty excited when we found out we got our name on the wall and some shelving on the floor. It's a big deal. And then once the shoes are on the floor, it just doesn't end there. We do have to spend some time and some money kind of supporting that account. Saks Fifth Avenue, for example, kind of expects us to allocate 3% of their total order to go back into supporting them with ad dollars. So like the catalogs that you get in the mail, we're gonna be in the contemporary catalog for this fall, but we have to pay for that placement, which is fine, and it's great advertising, but we do have to keep that in mind when we're creating our budget. And then they also ask us to do personal appearances. This was us at Fashion Night Out last year. We're doing another one, a contemporary PA next Saturday. So about once a season, we do have to commit to going to New York to just be on their floor for a day. This was our launch party. La Boutique is a store in Jackson Square in San Francisco. It's a beautiful store that has such a good heart and culture. They have, it's La Boutique, art and fashion, so they support local artists. They have rotating exhibits on the walls in addition to the fashion that they sell. So they picked us up our first season. They allowed us to have our lunch party there. So we just had so much fun. We got to decorate the window and kind of build our display. So it was such a good celebration because we had worked for well over a year at this point, and our shoes just then made it to the floor. So it was a good party and a good feeling. And then in December of last year, 2012, we had about 60 pairs of shoes left over from our fall collection, and we wanted to get rid of them. And pop-up stores are really popular ways to get rid of end of the season inventory. So we were trolling Union Street, Chestnut Street, and Fillmore Street on a weekly basis, and we found this place. A little for rent sign went up, and so we called and we got to go in, and we literally fell in love with it and refused to leave. Like the landlord laughs at us now because we walked in and I'm like, I'm not leaving until we're signing a lease. Like we don't even want it for a week, we want it for as long as you'll give it to us. So it's just it's mid-level, it's a beautiful lofty space, so we moved our office there. So it's our design studio, it's our wholesale office, and in the front, it's our a little storefront where we're displaying the spring collection right now. So here's the interior shots. We had so much fun. There's like a little lounge area, we call it our girl cave in the middle. There's like a candy bar and a coffee bar, sofas, an old record player. Like we just want our customers to come in and feel comfortable just hanging out with us. And we want to get to know them. We want to know what they wear, what they do. I mean, the more we learn about them, the better we are as designers. So it's been a really fantastic experience. Today was our month anniversary for opening. In addition to our storefront, we have a website. And on our website, we have an e-store. And, it was just like, this space is perfect. Let's open a store. Like, that's how we work. We're like, we'll just open an e-store. Like, it's no big deal. Like, why doesn't everyone do this? And it really is a big deal. And we're learning so much about what it takes to have a successful e-store because we, invested a lot of inventory to have product for this store. But now we're realizing that it's not just having it up there. The inventory isn't going to move itself. So we're learning about things like affiliate networking and different ways that you can work together with bloggers, affiliate programs to actually move our inventory. So it's been pretty exciting, but definitely we had no idea what we were getting into there. But one of my favorite things so far is just the people that we meet and that we get to work with. The photographer in that picture is some of our good friends, Piper's best friend, Gaia, her father. We met them in Sausalito. So it's so nice to work with community members, work with friends. He's an amazing oil painter, amazing photographer. So he did all of our lookbook and bio shots, which made it so much more comfortable because we're not we do not like being in front of the camera, the subject of the camera, so it's nice to work with friends for things like this. Social media has been a big part of what we do. It's fun and challenging. It's challenging because everything has to be so on target it has to be in line with our brand. You can't just haphazardly throw things up there, so then, you just second guess yourself, and then it's, I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with it. But we're getting like very good followers, which is really fun. We're starting to like communicate with our customers and the people following us. So we're getting more comfortable with it. And again, it's quite a learning experience. But it has proven to be powerful in examples like this. Like this is our Instagram account. We follow Saks Fifth Avenue. And one morning we were just flipping through and we saw Rachel Taylor just picking up our shoe at Saks Fifth Avenue. It's like, oh my gosh, how cool is that? Like we would have never known that she was looking at our shoes. And then, through our PR firm, we got in touch with her publicist, and then you get her in the boots, and like that's how, the whole viral thing. It's just so helpful for brand awareness. A lot of our marketing money and budget goes to a PR firm also in New York. Her name is Robin Berkeley. I don't know if you guys ever watched, I think it was called Kel on Earth. Kelly Catrone is like a famous fashion publicist, and Robin Berkeley was her partner. So she was on a reality TV show for about, I think, 2 seasons, and then I think she had it and she moved to Bali to become a yoga instructor, and then came back to New York, and now she's doing it on her own. And I think her life balance is much better now, but she just knows everybody. Like we do press trips with her, and we walk into Vogue and Elle, and everyone's like, Robin, nice seeing you last night. Are you going to be there tonight? I mean, she's just like in the know. So she's done an outstanding job getting us press that, frankly, like we don't deserve right now. We're still such a baby, and the fact that we're getting this caliber, like features on Elle and Vogue, is just so important for our brand, and this makes us serious contenders. Like Barney's right now, we're meeting with them next week because of their excitement about us being featured in Elle and that support. So it really is like a dance between the press and the retailers because they support each other. So the fact that we're in this caliber is amazing. One of the highlights thus far is we were nominated by the Fashion Group International as a Rising Star in the accessories category. We got to go to a luncheon. The Fashion Group is a really prominent fashion industry group. I mean, Anna Wintour, Oscar de la Renta, Diane van Furstenberg are all on the board of directors. So they were actually the ones like voting on our shoes to actually get us to be a finalist. So the fact that they saw our shoes and thought good things about them is pretty amazing. And this is my final slide. This is just me and Chris. I mean, we have so many good things ahead. I don't know where it's going to go. We're kind of going blind right now, but we're getting fantastic support, and we'll see. Questions? Thank you. Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
I have a microphone back
Okay.
here that I could pass around if anyone wants to ask a question.
I wonder if you've been to the shoe museum in Barcelona, Spain, and how the shoes in Spain inspire you.
The shoes in Spain are absolutely beautiful. I've not been to the museum, but I've never worked with a country more proud of their shoemaking ability. I mean, they even beat the Italians, which is hard to say in the shoemaking world. They're just exquisite, and they take such pride, and we couldn't be happier to be working with. It's a tiny family factory. I bet 12 people work in our factory right now, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Megan, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You took some time off and went to graduate school to become a teacher, and then taught for a couple of years. What brought you back into the fashion world, into shoe design?
I just really missed it. Teaching was certainly creative. I was working with first grade, and I was a reading specialist, so I got to do a lot of fun things. But as far as being personally fulfilled creatively, I just really missed fashion. And I think now I'm really lucky that I'm doing it my own way. I think the reason that I quit was because I was kind of turned off by just the industry that I was in. And it was fabulous. I mean, it just wasn't long-term for me. I had a blast. I learned a lot. But the balance, when you're in New York, especially at a place like Calvin Klein and the PR firm that I was working for, I mean, it's a long day. You're expected to be at work, and then you're expected to entertain after work. And I just got tired. So the fact that I can do this on my own now is really perfect.
How do you figure out what sizes to make?
We're basically told by our retailers what they want. We started with size 6 to 11, but now some of our shoes, especially this one, the Hong Kong is going crazy over, and so they asked us to do size 5, so now we're making size 5 to 11.
That's a big range of a lot of material, right?
It is a big range, and it's so expensive. Making the last, you wouldn't think of it, but you have to make a right and a left, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. So it costs about $5,000 just to invest in a set of last. So that's why it's really, we sit with our renderings for a pretty good amount of time, because we have to make sure that that style is not only going to last that one season, that it's going to have staying power to carry over to another season, because it's expensive.
So you will have things that will continue on in your line. If they're popular, you don't kill them to just bring something new out.
Definitely. So it's really just about what this looks like, the mold, because this boot right here is on the same last as this boot right here. So it's the same inside, but we can change the upper to different styles. It just has the same toe shape, basically, and the same heel height. So that's really what we're investing in, just kind of like the shape of the shoe. And then we can do different things with it.
Thank you.
For sure.
You mentioned in Italy there was a big expo where all the materials are displayed. Is that where all the main shoe manufacturers go, or
yeah,
are there
definitely.
other ways to procure materials?
No, they definitely, some of them, the bigger ones, well, they're there too. Some of the bigger ones have exclusives. I mean, if they're big enough, they get, a personal like salesperson, like going to their office, presenting the collection. But no, when we're there, we see people from Miu Miu, Prada, Gucci, and I mean, they're dressed impeccably, and they throw out their card, and like the red carpet comes out. So it's pretty fun just to like kind of spy and like people watch like what they're looking at, and yeah, we're in good company there. So it's fun to see the whole process.
Hi, who did you work with to develop your visual identity and brand identity?
That's a fun question, because it's probably our biggest mistake that we've made so far. We worked with an amazing graphic designer when we first started to do our website and our visuals, and it was really expensive, and it was the one place that we wanted to invest a lot of money in. And she made this beautiful website, and it actually won a couple of awards, but it was the most unuser-friendly website you'd ever met. The font was so over-designed. The font was so small, the navigation was horrible. It looked beautiful. I loved it. My husband was like, this is the worst website I've ever seen. Like, I can't even find your shoes. I can't find I can't find a phone number. So we tried that one for a year, and so we scratched it, and then we literally got a kid and paid $850 and made our current website. And so now we do all of the visuals. We hire photographers, friends. We look at concepts that we like. We're always pulling magazine clippings of like cute way to style feet. We don't want to brand with a model. Like, we can't ever see ourselves showing a face per se, because we, Frida Salvador is fictitious. We intended her to be that, and we don't want people to associate a person with her. We want them to feel like they are her as well. And it's more of like a mentality and a lifestyle. Frida, as a name, came from Frida Kahlo. We both loved her. But it's also phonetic, because we should name our shoes like this is C, so it's free to see. This is change, free to ride, free to roam, free to kiss, free to dream. These are all of our shoe names, so we're kind of like building spirits and personalities around our shoes that we don't necessarily want to associate to a person. So we try to keep our visuals just about a mood or shoes or, you know, from the knee down, and we'll probably keep it that way for a while.
I noticed that you don't have any high heels.
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
No, we actually, we started with heels. We had a full lifestyle collection, but our first factory was in Brazil, and we built an entire collection with them with heels. Comfortable. I mean, they were 3.5 inches, they were chunkier, we had a lot of padding, a little bit of a lift. We learned a lot of great technology at Anyulu, how to build a comfortable, like mid-height heel, but we wanted them to be a little bit more chic and urban. So we do have some heels that are beautiful, but our factory in Brazil shut down just due to economic reasons. And then we were in a panic because we had orders from Saks and Shop Up, and we needed to produce these shoes. And Christina's dad said, well, you can certainly use the factory in El Salvador, but we don't have the equipment to make heels. So then we had to cut the heels and basically focus on flats and boots, which I think was a blessing in disguise, because now the way that retailers see us, we're kind of more of like the Rag & Bone, Rachel Comey, like walkable urban brand. So that's kind of like our niche right now. We do want to go back into heels because that's something that I miss not wearing. You know, you can't not wear your shoes anymore, so I'm always dressing up boots and flats, which is fine with me because my feet don't hurt, but I do miss like a good, I know it really is. So I'm excited to bring those back, and we will for sure. Oh boy.
So, I mean, I'm just amazed by your effort and passion being your husband watching this.
Thanks.
It's really inspiring to me. But, you know, you talked about all the different parts of it. Would you be able to describe like where you spend most of your time and energy? Where that's between design or
Yeah, it
manufacturing?
definitely changes with the season. Like right now, we're heavy into design. We just finished Resort 2014, and we're working on Spring 2014. But that being said, we're also starting our network affiliate program for our online store. So whereas before, when it was super fun with Parker and Scrappy on my chair and Piper coming in, and we were just posting pictures all over the place, like developing shoes, now it's definitely more broken up. Like we have a lot of different hats. So I would say design is, I don't know, maybe 40%, whereas it was 60%, and now like the business side is kind of taking over. But we hired a girl that started with us on Monday. She's full-time, and even this week we could tell a difference. Like we gave her all of the just stuff that we were 2 people doing it all, so just to pass that off to somebody is really nice. So now we can get back into the more creative stuff. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How many collections do you put out a year? And how many shoes are in each?
We do 4 a year, so it's spring, fall, resort, and pre-fall. And spring and fall are the larger ones. We have, about 24 styles in those, give or take. And then the resort and the pre-fall are smaller. Like this year for pre-fall, we only have 4 styles coming out. Resort, we're offering about 23, and that'll probably narrow down to 8. It's just the different times a year. So like the fall 13 collection will ship in August, and then the resort holiday will ship in like November, December. So it's really just like spreading out those by months for the store. But now that we have our own store, it's totally different ballgame of like when we're gonna want new inventory too. So we might like beef up those collections just so our customers always have new things when they come in.
So as far as the logo itself, was that developed by the first graphic designer who did the website?
No, we did that.
Or you guys, okay.
We do a lot ourselves, yeah. I mean, Christina's amazing at graphic design. She says I'm amazing at concepts and I have no ability to execute, so we're a good partnership. I just keep throwing ideas at her and she renders them on the computer. So yeah, we do a lot ourselves and she made that logo.
I'll ask one last question.
Okay.
It sounded that like Christina's background and her family factory in El Salvador is really interesting. I wonder if you could say a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, she grew up in the factories. I mean, she has memories of being, like her earliest memories were in her dad's office. Her grandfather started the factory 60 years ago. And his goal was to produce shoes for the people of El Salvador, like affordable work shoes. And then he really built an empire, and it's now the largest shoemaker production in Central America. And they have their own line of shoes, and they have, I think, 350 retailers in Central and South America of their own private label. And then they do, her dad started Duramas, which is the hand-sewn factory. That was kind of his baby when he started working there 30 years ago. And so he takes great pride in the fact that it's one of the few remaining like true hand-sewn factories in the world. I mean, it's really old school machinery. It's really people hand-sewing the shoes. It's a beautiful facility. I mean, El Salvador in and of itself is a little bit dangerous and, poor. It's always, very humbling to go there, but you get on their property and they've really made quite a utopia for the workers, and I think they have, 5,000 people work for the company. They have a school for the children. They have beautiful soccer fields and cafeterias and just amazing facilities for these people. So, I mean, what I thought of a factory, I had no idea, and then I went down there and I was crying. I mean, it was beautiful. It was really amazing. So. Yeah, you're welcome.